Hello everybody and welcome back to myPACE. In this lesson we're going to get into lesson number 19, which is going to focus on the third pathway that is available to you. Specifically, this is going to be the apprenticeship. Now this is normally the pathway that confuses students the most because they're not entirely sure what it is. So please take some notes during this presentation so that you have an idea of what an apprenticeship is and how it can benefit you in pursuit of your ultimate career. If we take a look at apprenticeships over the last 10 years, we see that what it means to have an apprenticeship has truly evolved. Because at its core, what an apprenticeship is you are taken on by a company who wants to train you while you work for them. And studies show that employees who complete an apprenticeship, on average, earn around $300,000 more in their lifetime compared to other employees who did not complete an apprenticeship. So, we're going to get a little bit more into detail about what exactly this means for you, your trade, and your overall ultimate career. If you are going into this lecture really unsure of what an apprenticeship is, I would recommend going into the Resources tab of Lesson 19 on the myPACE website. You'll notice that there is a video link that says Intro to Apprenticeship, and it's going to take you to a YouTube video that's about 6 minutes long, and it's going to go over exactly what an apprenticeship is, what it means for you, how long you would be dedicating to completing this apprenticeship, what pay looks like. It's a really great introduction to this lecture, which is going to get a little bit more into the details, but it will cover the basics. So if you want to have a little bit of extra background information before getting into the meat and potatoes of this lecture, take the time and go watch that video really quick. So, in terms of apprenticeships, there are two different apprenticeships that are available to you, and that is a registered apprenticeship and an unregistered apprenticeship. So, what does this mean? What is the difference between these two? Well, a registered apprenticeship is going to be managed by the United States Department of Labor. So this is something that's going to be moderated at the federal level. It's also going to require a written plan, and it's going to have a lot of different fixed elements because it has to meet the requirements of the National Apprenticeship Act. So there's a lot more hoops that you need to jump through. There's a lot more boxes that you need to check. But what this is going to end up with is a nationally recognized certification that will let you transfer to different places around the country. So with this, we will see that if you have a registered apprenticeship that you have completed, this will be a lot more flexible in letting you transfer between companies, not just locations. Alternatively, companies can set up their own unregistered apprenticeships. So if you go into a company and you go, I like their ethics, I like what they do, and this is a company that I want to invest the majority of my career in. If that's the case, an unregistered apprenticeship might be a smart career move for you because that's going to be something that is significantly more internal. That can give you the upper hand when it comes to hiring decisions and what employers are looking for inside that company. But if you do plan on switching companies in the future, there's a chance that an unregistered apprenticeship might not be for you. There's advantages and disadvantages to each one. And at the end of the day, the type that you're looking for is going to vary based on the state that you're in, the industry that you're in, and the company that you are looking to get hired by. Next, we are going to discuss some common myths that you might hear when we're talking about apprenticeships. And the first is that apprenticeship programs are just for construction workers. Over the last 10 years, we have seen a really amazing evolution of what it means to have an apprenticeship. So it's not just for construction workers anymore. We actually see now that there are more than 1,000 different apprenticeable occupations in all major industries. So this is going to include industries like the medical field, so nursing, hospitality management, so that's like managing hotels, IT and systems administration. These apprenticeships are also going to have high tech. You are going to get to play with the technology that is brand new out if you pick the right apprenticeship. And obviously, the apprenticeships that are available to you are going to vary by state. If you're looking at going into an industry that doesn't have the greatest growth in your area, you're probably going to have issues finding an apprenticeship. It's going to be more competitive. It's going to be more selective. For example, going into the IT community and systems administration, you're going to have a lot better luck finding an IT apprenticeship if you are going to live in a larger city compared to if you're in a more rural area. Another myth is that you're going to be stuck in an entry-level job after the apprenticeship is over. This is also not true. So, in actuality, having an apprenticeship means that you are already establishing rapport with a company. And that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for future progression. The reason being is because since you have completed an apprenticeship with this company, you have grown into the mold that they have set out for you. You are exactly the right employee. You know exactly how their systems work. You know exactly how their procedures should be followed. And so because of that, you become a reliable investment for future promotions. If you have somebody who completed an apprenticeship within a company looking for a promotion, and they are competing against somebody who completed an apprenticeship outside of that company, then what that's going to do is that's going to give you, who completed an internal apprenticeship, the upper hand. Because even though that outside apprenticeship is still valid, and there's going to be a lot of great opportunities for that person, it's a tiny bit more of a gamble. Because with that internal apprenticeship, you're going to know all of the procedures. They don't need to train you as much. So there's a lot of great opportunities for future progression. In addition, a lot of companies who hire on apprentices keep them once the apprentices are finished with their apprenticeship, because they spent all this time molding you into the perfect employee, the perfect worker. Why would they go and let their competition take you? So, you also have the ability to earn 2-year associate's degrees during the time that you're completing your apprenticeship. On average, most apprenticeships last between 3 and 4 years. So, when you divvy up the work, it's very easy to get a 2-year degree completed during the time that you're completing your apprenticeship. And at the end of the day, you're going to have the same rights and growth potential as other employees, if not more, depending on how much time, effort, and passion you are investing in your apprenticeship. So, things to consider when you're looking for an apprenticeship. Similar to the way that you have found the advanced training program and the college program, you're going to start by going to your favorite occupations. And you're going to click on one of the jobs that you have added as your favorite. Ideally, you do want to start with the one that you selected as your ultimate career. But if you end up finding out that there's not an apprenticeship available for that position, that's okay. That just tells us that maybe apprenticeship isn't the pathway that you're going to be going down. But we still want you to complete this lesson and know what's available to you. So select one of the other occupations that you added to your favorites. So once you get to the occupation page, you're going to scroll down to those 4 boxes that we have been looking at before. And now we're going to click on the green box, which is specifically for apprenticeships. And it's going to take you to this website, apprenticeship.gov, and it's going to allow you to look up a job occupation as well as a location. And you'll be able to see what apprenticeships are available in that area. If you do look up a location and you don't get any results, that's okay. What you should do in that case is remove the location, and then you can put in filters as necessary. So, your cost and time for an apprenticeship. Apprenticeships can last anywhere between 1 to 6 years, but depending on the industry, it could be more or less time. On average, most skills are going to require 3 to 4 years to properly cultivate and master. Programs are going to be time-based, meaning you progress through the apprenticeship based on how long you've been in the apprenticeship. Competency-based, which is you progress through the apprenticeship depending on you showing that you've mastered the skills, or, most commonly, a hybrid of the two. Your cost in dollars. So in terms of how much money you are putting out into an apprenticeship, that is a big ol' 0. This requires no investment of money on your part. In fact, an apprenticeship is most likely going to pay you. We actually see that apprentices usually start at 40 to 50% of a journey worker's wage, a journey worker being a full-time employee at that company. And then, as you take time to really go through your apprenticeship and master those skills, you're going to see your wages increase at regular intervals as your job skills increase. So these apprenticeships are going to pay you in proportion to what you are bringing to the table. The more you know, and the more you've shown that you know, the more you're going to get paid. And once you hit that 100% and you're making exactly what a journey worker makes, that's actually going to compete in terms of annual salary with a lot of different college graduates. Except you don't have to fork out all those student loans. You did this on your own, and you're succeeding because of it. So, pre-apprenticeship requirements. What does this mean for you? So, some programs are going to require that you pass exams. And this isn't going to be just practical knowledge exams. This is going to be different topics like math, reading, and science. Now, this is going to sound a little bit familiar to you. When you think about it, how do we test for math and reading? That's the TABE tests. So this is another use for those TABE tests where you are showing that you do have a certain grade level of skills, because academic skills are not separate from your trade. No matter what trade you go into, you are going to need math. Our CNA students are going to need to calculate heart rate and blood pressure. Our hard hat trades are going to need to learn how to properly get measurements and area, surface area, all of these different things, your angles. Math isn't optional in these trades. The same thing with reading. Construction trades need to know how to read blueprints. CNA is going to need to know how to read a medical chart. These are not separate from what you're doing in your everyday life. Just because it's not an equation doesn't mean it doesn't have a practical application. If you do struggle with math or reading or science or what have you, please reach out to us and let us know that you're struggling. Because it's not an admission that you're having a hard time. What you're actually doing is giving us, as Job Corps staff, the ability to do our jobs. So we are more than happy to sit down with you and tutor you a little bit and hopefully clear up some things. There's a lot of test prep available to you as well. We're not just going to throw you in and hope that you swim. We're here to make sure that you don't drown. So, important things to remember about the apprenticeship pathway. Employers are going to come to you with job opportunities, so be ready because you never know when that next opportunity is around the corner. You're going to receive a combination of on-the-job training and classroom instruction. You have so much variety and options in apprenticeships. It is not just for construction or manufacturing anymore. This has evolved. It is something new, and it is something that is amazing as an opportunity for you. And this is going to give you a nationally recognized transferable certification. So what you're going to do now, please go to lesson 19 on the myPACE website, and you are going to go and find an apprenticeship that sounds interesting to you. And you are going to follow those instructions on lesson 19 to copy and paste that information so that you do have access to it in the future. If apprenticeship isn't something that really resonates with you, that's okay. But remember, like we talked about in lesson 16, entertain the thought for the purposes of this lesson. And if you hit submit and you don't want to think about it anymore, that's okay. But give it an honest shot until then. If any of you are confused about apprenticeships as a pathway or the lesson 19 assignment that you need to complete, please do not hesitate to reach out to your myPACE coach. We are more than happy to talk with you and help answer any questions. So if you need to call us, text us, schedule a Google Meet, email us if you need to. We are here to help you. Thank you guys so much for listening to this lecture, and I will see you guys, metaphorically, in the next one.